That's mystical.
You know what? Let me tell you something about today. Thank you for joining us for our final installment for Black Art Conversations. Today is December 2021, and I am here with some amazing, awesome, talented, esteemed musical colleagues. But before I even get to that, we'd like to thank our sponsors. Black Art Conversations has been a 3-part series supported in part by the Women's Coalition for Empowerment, the Rotunda, the Office of Arts, Culture, and the Creative Economy, the Pennsylvania Council on the Arts, and our guest panelists includes Ericka, Dawn Glenn. Put your hands together, put your hands together. And we have Patrice Hawthorne.
Oh, that's me.
My name is Shekhinah B, and I would be remiss if I didn't. We're gonna have fun today. We just talking like it's family right now. So I know many of you were unable to join us in person, and we appreciate those that are able to join us via virtual, the platforms on Facebook or YouTube. But I'd like to also introduce Tym Johnson on bass, and the amazing, talented, gifted, esteemed, he always smells good, Johnnie, Lady Love 'em Croom. I'd also like to thank Alex and Styx and Jason for doing all that you do, our sound, our building management, and our videography. And our amazing audience today, all 3,000 of you. So I just want to get into some real deep stuff, and I'm glad we're opening it up like this today, because normally we don't really have, like, it's not usually as loose, but I want to get loose today. Since it's our last installment for the year, we're going to talk about some amazing subjects, and I hope you ladies are ready. But I bring to you Ericka Glenn and Patrice Hawthorne. I'm going to give you a little bit of history about each one of these. What do you think I'm going to say?
Don't believe a word she said, y'all.
Well, according to sources, Ericka Glenn is a Philadelphia-born singer-songwriter who has a passion for soul music. She's most notable as being Philadelphia's Gladys Knight. Anywhere, I mean, they requested it so much. Gladys Knight sent her a letter and said, if you sing my song one more time without paying me royalties, I'm gonna come and get you. That is like, she is known. She has a similar like throaty sound, raspy vocals, and it's amazing. She's worked on the Philadelphia open mic circuit. She has a large base around the city. She sang backgrounds for the Golden Oldies acts such as The Whispers, Ray Goodman. You ain't think I did that research, huh? You've performed with Chris Brown, Gene Carn, and Neo, just to name a few. You also shared the stage with Genuine. And Ericka was a part of an R&B group called Sweet 215. And they had an album called 5 Love Affairs, Honest Intentions. And you can catch Ericka Glenn if you go on her Facebook page under Ericka Glenn. You can catch her out here in these streets now. Now don't blush, she's blushing. Ericka's very shy, but when it comes to hitting the mic, she hits the mic and she's ready to do what it do. Small world after all. Now we have, I'm about to embarrass you, Patrice.
And she has 2 shy people on the stage, ready to ask her some questions. Wonderful.
So Patrice Hawthorne has appeared throughout the Philadelphia area on shows such as the mid-'80s teen favorite Dancing on Air. She actually was one of the notable Peaches of the duo Peaches and Herb. She has traveled internationally. She is a singer, a songwriter, an actress, a model. She knits, cooks for the kids. I'm gonna name a few people. Can I name drop on you? Is it all right if I name drop? I know you're embarrassed by stuff like that, but I'm gonna name drop on you. You've worked with such artists as, let me get my notes. Obviously with Peaches and Herb. You appeared on Big Break, which was hosted by Natalie Cole. You've also sang a duet with Stevie Wonder.
That was me. Yeah.
Yes. So you've traveled around the world singing some of the hits of Peaches and Herb with Shake Your Groove Thing. Reunited, word on the street is it feels so good.
I pledge my love.
I pledge my love. You performed in the West Indies, Mexico City, Korea, Jamaica, South Africa. You went all over the world. Give me a food stamp. Give me a stamp. Give me a stamp. So, and you also, now this is how I found out about you. My first time. I saw you on VH1's R&B Divas, and you were singing for and with Patti LaBelle. I remember that, and I was like, she got to win it.
So long ago.
That was like,
yeah, I don't know how that happened. I was performing. I think she jumped on stage just to do a little bit of something or whatever. Philadelphia Divas.
Philadelphia Divas.
Wow.
So we know a couple of the divas, but I'm glad that I got a chance to finally, I was like, I'm going to meet her one day, but I'm finally glad that we had an opportunity to connect, and it's been a great opportunity sharing a stage with both of you.
Thank you.
And now that I have suppressed your inhibitions, I'm about to make it very uncomfortable.
Exactly. Bring it.
Okay. So right now, the narrative for the creative sector has changed. Oh, it's about, you might as well cut the music now because it's about to get serious. The narrative for the music sector has changed. Obviously, COVID, vaccine requirements. It's just been like a whole thing. How has COVID impacted both of you, career-wise, professionally, creatively, personally? And please use your mics.
That's a good question. It really didn't really affect me financially, you know what I mean, because I have a job, and I kind of had taken a hiatus anyway, so it hasn't really affected me, but just watching how it affected my peers, I'm like, wow, it just shut everything down. And it made you, it would make one, if they weren't prepared, if they're smart, become prepared. You know what I mean? Because it just took a lot of people's livelihoods away.
I lost a lot of money. I lost a lot of money.
Well, I guess for me, I stayed pretty busy doing a lot of virtual performances, a lot for the seniors. Some performances outside for them. As far as, I don't know, I guess I was a lot luckier than most, because some of my fellow musicians and singers would say that they weren't performing at all. But I don't know, I was always finding some place to perform. Like I said, whether it was virtual, whether it was outside, whether it was an event where they had me behind a partition or shield, whether I was far away. So yeah, I stayed pretty busy, but at the same time, I did lose a lot as well, if that makes sense.
No, I get it.
I worked a lot, but then I lost, but I still think I made out very well.
There was a term for that. There was a term for that during the pandemic. It was called the pivot. The pivot, where you just kind of like, okay, you were knocked off, but then you were able to kind of readjust in another way. So you readjusted with the virtual, doing the partitions and the protective areas, and she was like, I'll work my job. Just, give me $1. Give me $1. Well, for us, we lost some contracts. But I've learned to be a little bit more creative. I started doing interactive, like speaking, more like virtual workshops, so that kind of helped me. But performance-wise, I was certainly hurting. I was like, where them food stamps at? Where the food stamps at?
And I did a lot of writing at that time as well, so, focused on that, and contacting folks about acting when I knew that things eventually would open up. So I was just kind of setting myself up for that also.
And
but
I just saw you in a commercial, by the way.
No.
Just saw you in a commercial.
Supreme Home Care. Well, there's two.
Yes.
Supreme Home Care, and there's
Tim, didn't you tell me you saw her in a commercial too?
the other one, foster parent commercial or something or another.
She's in commercials.
Yeah, no, it's fun and it pays.
Y'all are both
so,
securing bags. Y'all are securing bags. So these two artists, you don't have to worry about them. They're just fine. And even though the pandemic came and changed the game, they were very well prepared for what's to come.
And I don't know if I should say this, but pandemic money that was received.
The PUA.
Yeah.
The PUA money.
Yeah, I received that as well. So
That was great. That was very good. A lot of people, unfortunately, were ineligible because they didn't have like some of the registration, accurate, up to date, or just organized in the first place. So that's where I come in for those that are interested in having those art economic empowerment conversations. The Women's Coalition believes in merging the gap between art and commerce. So we hope that you sign up to any of our free or very low cost sliding scale workshops that are available. So we'll be having a few coming up in the new year. So I hope you guys sign up. All right. How do you both, I'm telling your business, just a little bit, not too much. She's, Patrice, how do you balance home life, motherhood, relationships? How do you balance that with your creative career? Because as women, as Black women, entrepreneurs, working jobs, how do you balance it all? You had to take a deep breath for that?
Yeah. Because I have a 4-year-old and a 23-year-old. So
Mike Boo.
I have to do a lot of time management. And I find that just not as an artist, but as a person with time management, things are easier. You know what I mean? Without it, then you're running around, stuff don't get done, and things go awry. So, I had to learn how to do time management, and that's how I balance out.
Okay.
Yeah, and I get my quiet time in.
well, for me, I have almost 18-year-old and 25 or something like that. But for me, it has really been no different than what I normally do. I am pretty good at multitasking. I've always been gigging all over the place, running all over the place, doing a little bit of everything. So I just don't really feel a difference. I don't feel a change. Whatever is needed on their end, I just make it happen, and I always have. So, yeah.
That's good to know. Good to know. Time management is key. Compartmentalizing your tasks are key, especially if you're a creative, because you're going to be faced with time schedules, changes to schedules, and hey, we need you on 55 more jobs than you thought you was going to be on. And it's like, oh, how do you navigate that and then still have time for your significant other, your children, your friends, family, yourself, me time? How do you even do that? How do you balance that? There is something I worked on about that. It's called no.
Yes, that's a good word.
No. So 2022, I'll be implementing the No Initiative.
But that's interesting because I don't have a problem with finding time for myself. I guess as a full-time musician, singer, whatever. Some people don't view singers as musicians.
I don't know why
not. But I find the time. I mean, I'm walking my dog every day, and when I get up, I'm just doing other things and so I find a lot of time, a lot of free time to do whatever I need to do. So,
well, I'm about to throw you all a curveball.
Okay.
She's like, ooh, what we gonna talk about? So we kind of went down the list. You kind of answered some of the additional questions that I had about like conventional work. So you're a full-time creative artist, musician, singer, songwriter, all of that. And you are creative part-time, but you work a full-time job. How is that? Would you trade places? Like what? How, I don't know. Tell me about that.
When I was younger, I would have just done music full-time and not cared about working. However, I found that in order for me to be comfortable, and then at the time I had a little child, I didn't find that at the point I was in my career that music could sustain it. And so, I'm a disabled veteran, so I was like, you know what? I got to do what I got to do, and not putting music on the back burner, but just prioritizing. Okay. You know what I mean? So that certain things were in place so that if I didn't get a gig, I could still suffice. So, anybody that's doing it full time, my hat goes off to you. But it's also good to have a backup plan just in case things go awry, because they do sometimes. Look at the pandemic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It shut a lot of people down.
It
you
did.
know what I mean? And so it's good to have a plan. So at this point, I'm good where I'm at. You know what I mean? My thing is, I never wanted to be like an old singer. And
What's an old singer?
I don't want to work. I don't want, like, I'm 50 now.
You use
I
some bow
don't want to
ties?
have
What you
to
got
work
going on?
in my 70s and 80s working. I want to work at my leisure. So I'm setting it up to where I can do that. And I'm happy with the gigs that I get. Even if it's 10 a year, they're ones that I want and they pay what I want. You know what I mean? Whereas before I was just taking anything, because when you're hungry and you're young and naive, and naivete takes over sometimes when you're an artist. You just take anything. So I'm at the point now where I'm comfortable where I am. I'm comfortable with me. You know what I mean? I know what I can do. I know what I bring to the table, and I know what I want, and I get it. That's it.
Okay. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, you don't. You're not just a vocalist. How is that? What is that in terms of, like, have you ever felt fear of, like, what if I can't do the creative part of my career? Then what?
Well, in my younger years, I've had other jobs, not many, but so for the most part, all my life, I've done music, and it's just work for me. Okay. Yeah, it really has. Of course, without getting into financials, but it really
that's
has,
your business now. That's it. We ain't going there now.
Yeah, it really has worked for me, and especially because I guess I do so many gigs. Like before the pandemic hit, I did 180 gigs, and I was scheduled to do 225.
For those that 180 gigs in 1 year, so that's 52 weeks a year times 2, so that's about times 2.
Oh my goodness!
No,
what are you?
No, we like it's a double. So you working
I thought
at
you was
least
trying
2
to
to 3
figure out
times
the
a week.
money.
No, not the money. I'm just giving perspective to those like over 180 gigs a year. That means she is at least working every single week of the year, multiple times in a week in a year. That's a lot on the physical, the mental health, your availability. That's how do y'all do it? How do you do it? How do we do it? How do we do it? 12 gigs in 1 week. How? Oh, during the pandemic?
No, during that time, 180 gigs.
Wow.
There are exceptional people in this business right here. We're going to give a hand to Patrice right now.
But a lot of the musicians do that as well. They're gigging all the time. Like
it's different for us, though. It's different for us.
Because we are using our vocal cords.
Because we are the instrument. And so you wouldn't think about, Mr. Croom or
But he's
Mr.
using
Johnson.
his fingers constantly.
I
Right?
heard he ices them up every night. You ice up your fingers? Okay, so he does
or
what
when
needs
he's
to be
playing
done.
drums, the foot's got to keep going.
It's so
forever.
different.
I understand what you're saying because, I guess there's a lot of other preparation that we have to involve ourselves with. So for me, once again, I've just been pretty fortunate and just very lucky. I guess I get tired like anyone else, but it works. It's been working for me.
Well, I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at either
And
one
that
of
guy
you.
right there, he helps out tremendously.
So
tremendously. I have,
a support system.
Yes.
That's important.
So
a lot of artists don't have that. And I'm going to tell you, almost 90% of the gigs I've seen you on, or even online or in person, you always have, I'm not going to say your name, put you out there. Yeah. Is he the manager? He's a manager.
I mean, he acts like one.
He's a part of management.
He does a little bit of everything.
He's a part of management. He's a part of management.
So
he even had to authenticate our drinks for the day to make sure that it was the right thing so that we ain't up in here getting sippy and saucy on the stage.
But also keep in mind, some of those gigs were senior gigs, and they're just for an hour. So I would go from one to the other.
That changes the narrative greatly.
Yeah.
So
it's not like a 4-hour gig where I'm trying to sing over a band and losing my voice. And
you doing the technological, like you hook up the sound and whatnot.
Yeah, I sing along to instrumental tracks.
That's totally, but it's still a work. It's still work.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
bringing in the equipment and all that other stuff. But once again, I have a lot of help. So
She's like, yo, I got the hookup. So let me just tell you, word on the street is, Patrice, that you have the Teflon vocal cords that never break down.
I that is true.
I have never.
That
I've
is
never
true.
heard the breakdown.
Yeah, I've never really been hoarse that I can think of. Maybe when I was younger, like from a cold, but I don't get colds now because I just don't. I really get sick. I'm a vegan.
She's a
and
fifth level vegan. Everyone.
I don't get sick. So, but yeah, I don't get hoarse. But the other thing is I make sure I'm not screaming over a band. I mean, I'm just not going to do that. I'll just be like, you sing, y'all play, go, whoo, or go, hey, hey, all night, you know. I'm not going to be like, you man, mama, not. No. Not for 4 hours. I'm not doing that. So it's just the choices, you know, that I make. The type of gigs that I do don't require that. I don't do a lot of club gigs where I have to do a lot of screaming over a band.
So Patrice is actually one of the executive committee members of the No Initiative, and she just implemented the no clause on screaming over the bands, the no clause for doing a whole bunch of crazy over the top gigs where it's just like burning out the most important instrument to maintain, you know, the income to come in. Now that so being performers, so we're talking about the profitability of this game. We've all put out individual original music. And I want to talk about something. Royalties. Let's talk about why'd you put your head down when I said that? You want, how about you start about that? Tell me your thoughts. Like Ericka and I were in a group called Sweet 215, an R&B group. We put out an album some time ago. Mm-hmm. I want to say circa 2009. Yeah. 2009. And I think all the royalties that came in, I had so much to just purchase a Happy Meal out of all these years. All these years later. And it brings to mind research, the digital stream payout. And I didn't realize this. I thought somebody lied to me. I thought it was even trying to put in, for those that aren't aware, when artists put out a project and it's accessible on a streaming platform like an Amazon, a Tidal, Spotify, YouTube, they are getting like hundreds of thousands of a penny. And I'm gonna give you context. So I did a presentation called The Artist Cut. And in The Artist Cut, this is a digital stream payout cheat sheet that I created, and I shared it online. I got a lot of death threats and, you know, hate mail, all kinds of crazy stuff.
You're kidding?
I didn't share it again because I was like, I just don't need the smoke this year. I'm serious.
Because you shared that information?
I'm going to tell you why. I was considered a hater. I was considered angry, jealous, because people were, maybe my timing wasn't the best. There was a thing that came out in 2020 called Spotify Wrapped. You heard about that? So to get a Spotify Wrapped access, if you have original music on that system, you have to be a premium account holder. So one, that costs money. Number two, on Spotify, let's say you put out a song, an album, even a track, and somebody downloads that track or listens to it, you get a royalty. But do you know you would have to have 100,000 streams in order to get like close to $500? You would have to have 1 million streams to get $3,000 to $5,000. And keep in mind, all of that money is taxable. So for an artist to go into the studio, hire musicians, pay for studio time, pre-post-production, mastering, marketing, promo, photos, pictures, makeup artists, stylists, that you're not even making your money back. And if you did, you would have to have an exorbitant marketing budget to even try it. Even when people say, play my song for 8 hours while you're sleeping, just put it on repeat. It's not real. It's not real. So when you see these people online and they're telling you, I had $200,000 streams on Spotify or on Tidal or on Amazon, they broke. They're broke. And the people who get the millions of streams, like a Cardi B or a Beyonce or, you know, these really popular rappers, they're using the loans by the record companies in order to get the marketing budget. So they're not even really getting the money back for the songs if they don't even own the masters or the publishing and they are not writing on it. So by the time the money trickles down, those artists that are signed to the labels, they owe money. They're just a walking slave. So when I think about it, I said, well, why would I even put my music on this thing? And I brought this conversation up because I wanted to know an alternative. So I did some research and I found out there was a better way. And I said, I'm gonna carry this as a badge of proof. You can look at it. I don't know if you could zoom in on this. I'll share it later. My nails are done today, so we can do that. My nails are done today. The digital stream payout. You really need, even on Amazon, which is Amazon Music, you still need over 1 million. Most of us we can't even get 100,000 people to like and share something on the platform because of the algorithms. So we are so like beyond. So the most money that artists are getting is when you perform in person or, you know, like the virtual performances, performance tiers, if you're on tour, if you have a tour, and if you're selling your product individually. But then you have to think about this. CDs are obsolete technology or becoming obsolete technology. A good portion of the people that may enjoy your music and that want to spend it are a little older and they may not have the technology necessary to support the artist's narrative to give them the money. So then what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? We have conversations like this to try to build solutions. So thoughts about that.
Well, I just had this conversation not too long ago with someone that I was writing a song with, and I was saying that I wasn't excited about releasing the song on all of those platforms because it really doesn't mean anything. You know, you're not making any money. So what does it all mean? Why? Maybe just for other people to enjoy your music and hear it around the world. Okay, woohoo, that's great. You know, but aside from that, and the reason why I brought that up is because he was speaking about the monetary, a part of it. But once again, I agree with everything that you said. So that's just not something that I'm really into anymore. Was it you or someone else
we definitely talked about it recently.
Yeah,
we did.
and I think you were saying that it's more beneficial to actually put your music on your website and to just sell it to people on your website, whether it's for $5 or $10 for your whole album or whatever.
I did an experiment about this recently.
Yeah, exactly, and that makes a lot of sense, a lot more sense, you know. So I did share that with the person that wanted to write this song with me, that perhaps that's the way that he should go about it. But it really doesn't affect me anymore, or I'm not really concerned with it because I'm not looking to make money from doing that. Yeah, so I don't want to say I don't care, but it just doesn't matter to me. Because you're right. I almost kind of feel it's really unfortunate too because when I was talking to you, I was saying, is there anything that could be done? I think it's really horrible that you have millions of indie artists that are pouring their heart into these songs and want, to be compensated. And they're making nothing.
There's three ways.
So, but nobody cares, nobody really cares. Like all of these music platforms, they don't care. They're making their money. And will that ever change, though? How will that ever change? And I just don't see it changing because to me, maybe I'm too pessimistic about it, but, we just live in a world that's just full of greed, and it's about,
Tym shook his head real hard.
Yeah, I know. It really, and it's unfortunate, but, what are you going to do with that? I don't think it'll ever change.
So
we're in a greedy world. We're in a world where the powers that be, the people on the top, the people that own the record industry and all the other folks, it's just about them, fattening their pocket, and they don't care about the little man. So that's nothing is ever going to change. I don't think.
Go ahead.
Well, I feel the same way, so you guys already touched on how I feel, you know what I mean? I don't think that it ever changed. Like, I think with things that change in the music industry is always a way to get around it and get more money for the record label to get it. So at one time it was CDs, then it became MP3s, and then it went on to streaming, and it's always a way to get around it, because like you have people that stream, but you also have like these apps on phones where you can download people's whole album for free.
For free on YouTube and download the MP3 and just put it on your device.
With no consequences.
Exactly. And people don't even want to buy your stuff for 99 cents.
Yes, Your Majesty, Johnnie Croom. Oh, he needs a mic. We'll wipe it off.
I think that everybody is correct, but I think we're looking at it wrong. And how we're looking at it is we're looking at it from a record company perspective. In the record company years, the record company needed the artist needed the record company. But an artist is an artist. You understand what I'm saying? The music business is the record company side. That's the business. That business has never cared about an artist. Mm-hmm. It happened to care about an artist by proxy. You understand what I'm saying? Because they needed each other. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So there is no new anything. As far as selling records or anything like that, you're absolutely correct. But the other side of it is, what if it's just a major marketing situation for you as an artist, for you to do what you want to do with that audience? Say a lot of people have your music for free. Let's just say that. And you just wanted to go to work. Well, now they know you as an artist. The same thing that a record company would do.
I'll say this.
So you can control your own. You understand what I'm saying?
I do. I look at the music that's being released now as sort of like a portfolio or a resume.
Yes.
But there are alternatives for us to still make it profitable in a way that's directly profitable to the artist. We have a system where you can have your album, you can price it for whatever you want to price it on your website. And like right now, I tried it out with my first book, Take Charge, an accountability workbook, ShekhinahB.org. Proceeds go to the Women's Coalition for Empowerment, just letting you know. Yeah. So when that book came out, I did an ebook first, just to test my theory. That book came out, I saw numbers that I never seen with any music that I ever put out for years that it's been out and been accessible on these systems. And when I did that, I said, well, let me try with my song. Because what's the difference between a Spotify and my website? Not much, because they can download. There are systems where you can have MP3s, MP4s. I can specialize them in a way that's a little bit more unique than those systems. And the money goes directly to me at a price that's fair to me. So if I have one track and it's $5, that's $5 that's going to me.
Yes, absolutely. Right.
Versus me getting a stropany.
Yeah. Yeah.
100 millionth of a cent.
Exactly.
That's the only way.
I agree.
Yeah.
But what you're talking about is something that you've created. I'm talking about what you all were talking about earlier.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's pretty much everybody. You know what I'm saying? In terms of the music business, what you've done is you came outside of that and you found a glitch. You know, you found a way to make money with this situation. Other than that, anybody who's doing this in the standard way, it's an old blueprint.
Yeah, it's outdated.
You know what I'm saying? That everybody's saying, well, if you have to stream these many such and suches and so forth and so on, and there's no money. Well, it's because it's an old blueprint.
Yeah.
And you found a way to do it outside of that.
Some other way. Oh.
And I guess my question to you is, do you feel that there will ever be a change?
I think she's the change. I think the things that she's talking
make me
about
blush.
are kind of the change. I don't think that there'll ever be a standard change. Why should it be a standard change when again, we're talking about the business side.
I see.
The
Right.
the music, the label.
Yes.
Why should they change?
If they're making
Let's-
all of
You know
this
what I'm
money,
saying?
then why?
And
Yeah,
why?
right. Well,
Right, I
And let's be
understand.
very clear, the music that's out, none of the music has ever gotten me a job, with the exception of, well, we just need to see what you do. We just need to hear what you sound like. Everything that I've ever done, like track-wise music that's available, accessible, it's only been as a part of my portfolio to suggest, hey, I'm a singer, I can sing, hire me. And the majority of all of the creative sector money that I've made has been from in-person activities. And for me, the most profitable means as being a creative cultural producer. That, the logistical element that comes with cultural production, as well as the income, has been for me, has been way better. Because one, now I'm seeing the budgets. Number two, I'm negotiating not from the artist perspective, but from a perspective as a logistic person and arts administrator. So I changed hats, and I think for artists, we need to start looking at the creativity from an administrative standpoint to make it profitable and to make it make sense. If I'm spending thousands of dollars to produce an original creative work, I'm not gonna sell it to you on Amazon. What I'm gonna do is, one, I'm getting somebody else to pay for it, so I'm gonna get funding. And that's why I tell artists, please look for fellowships, look for grants, look for business funding. That's why it's important for artists to start their businesses, because there is money out there. Everything that I have done henceforth, since I found this avenue, has been from funding. Even right now, this conversation that I used to so freely have over the phone with you, calling you, Tim, calling Auntie Ella, talking to my mother, and now I'm like, wait, there's a way to do that. Now we have sponsors. Now we have, institutional support and collaborative initiatives that make sense. So for us, this conversation is important to get the word out and us to rethink, because that old model just needs to stay in the past as what not to do anymore.
Well, one of the things I wanted to add when I asked, will there ever be a change, is one of the things that I thought about is that someone, I don't remember the name of the organization, but they were saying that people were actually trying to bring about change in order for the artists to get more money by going to Washington in support of indie artists. And but they were trying to go to Congress, let's say.
And the Modernization Act, which also supports, fair pay, but unfortunately, that is not helpful to artists that are working in institutions that don't adhere and follow that policy. It's not enforceable.
Right, and exactly, and I think
It's just
even
like the unions, like,
right.
who's doing unions right now? How's
Right,
that
even
helping
though
anybody?
right, exactly, even though they're trying, I just here being pessimistic again.
No, it's
I
real.
just think that because there is so much greed and power in everything that we do, I just don't see them making any headway. I mean, because there would be somebody to be like, yo, here's $1 million. To the person that they're trying to get to, they would be like, let's leave the way it is in place. And that's all they got to do. If that person that makes the laws for Spotify and all the other things that you're talking about, whoever puts that in place, they can just make sure that they're paid enough money, to keep that in place. And to keep the other people out of trying to make a change for that.
So-
I just think it's, it's such a dirty business, and I just don't see it ever changing.
So let me tell you, I didn't want to share this with you all yet. I wanted to surprise you. For those greedy institutions and individuals and businesses that have been taking advantage of artists, behind that curtain is a metal chair for them to have a hard seat in, because they need to have a hard seat in that chair, because we have to reframe our way of thinking. We have to reframe our approach. We can't wait for them to change. We got to change, because if we keep accepting it, it's just like with a lot of these gigs and these places that are still paying artists, according to research, technically $30 an hour to do 75-minute sets, and tips or no tips, and you walking home with less than $200 for 4.5+ hours of work. If we continue to accept that, we're a part of the problem. We accept it. So now I'm like, you know what? Call me a diva, call me evil, call me whatever. At this point, it's time to say no.
It just, and I agree completely with you. It just seems like such a major undertaking to get the majority of
It
people,
starts with us.
you know,
It starts right here.
to do that. I
But
mean,
that happens because you have to be united. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, and not just in Philadelphia, it's just all over the country with a lot of musicians. Like you'll have somebody that set the bar this high, and then because this person might be insecure, just might want the gig so bad, they'll take a lower price. You know what I mean? No.
That's
it's
it's
not
called
good.
a gig poaching for those that were
You know
unaware
what I mean?
of that
And
terminology.
Of course, I mean, if you want to keep money in your pocket, you're going to go with the lower price. You know what I mean? And it happens all the time, and it's been happening for years, and it's still going to happen. You know what I mean? Because
Moreover, even the venues that they sell food, they sell liquor, they sell tickets, and only the artist could get a portion of ticket sales, plus pay an entertainment tax, plus be taxed on the money at the entertainment tax. And it's just like, wait a minute, hold up. So I can't walk in and say, I just want the bar, or I just want the food in the bar. You're going to tell me that I'm getting a portion of ticket sales, plus my people are eating and drinking, and then I'm walking away with paying an entertainment tax, and I'm walking away with a portion of the money that I brought in because they were coming in to see me, or whatever I'm bringing into the table. That's something that's like, you know, there's got to be a way around that. So I tell artists sometimes it's better, these places may not change, but we could change our approach. If you're going to get a gig with a place, get a sponsor, get additional funding outside of that, get a grant, so that way you could supplement the money that they're not paying, so that at least you walk away with something better. There's plenty of corporate sponsors that'll work with artists that are ready to be worked with. That's why I tell artists, have a website, have a portfolio, have a bio, have a headshot, have some reason as to why it's mutually beneficial to do business with you, because sometimes it makes it difficult just to say, hey, I'm talented, work with me. That's just not enough. You laughing, it's true.
Shekhinah for president of Indie Artists United.
Yes.
You should be everybody's manager, every musician and singer's manager.
I thought about that.
I'm telling you.
To be honest,
You've got the knowledge, you've got the drive, you've got it all.
I'm still learning the same way you were all learning. The only difference
I don't
is
have the patience.
I'm like kicking open the
No,
door
I'm just kidding.
to have these conversations. Oh, I messed up my thing. Okay, let's talk about it. See, we don't went off the beaten path. All right, we got a little bit of time left. Okay, we're talking about clicks of familiarity. Why are you laughing? Ericka and I, we talk about this quite frequently. So there is a thing, there is a clique. There are cliques in Philadelphia. Philadelphia it's a very sectional city, not by way of like, oh, West Philly, North Philly, yay. But I'm talking about like genres. There's the R&B, there's the we on tour, y'all not on tour. There's the gospel scene. But the gangsters of all, did you know who the gangsters are? The gangster thugs of the music scene. Hold on, we got one of them thugs in this audience right now. The jazz people. The jazz people. They the thugs. I'm telling you. They the thugs. They come out. Y'all gonna walk me out when we leave out of here, because I don't want nobody coming after me. So the jazz community, they are gangsters. They will literally come in holding tomatoes, rocks, but they will blackball you. They run Philadelphia. Hey, jazz community, y'all excellent, y'all great. John Coltrane and all that. You dare talk about one of them jazz people, let me tell you, they're gonna come and fall upon you like a ton of bricks. They run the city. So if you ever are an artist and you trying to come to Philadelphia, you better get through if you can get through the jazz people, then you are the bomb. You the bomb, you doing it. The majority of the people on the Grammy board